Hello, everyone. Rich Wildman here. This is Music Scene Investigation. Thanks for being here, everybody. I really appreciate you showing up. I'm looking around, making sure I got all the levers and buttons pushed that need to be pushed. That's what I do here. So if you see me doing that on the video, that's fine. If you're listening on the radio, hey, don't worry about it. It's all good. Just a man behind the curtain pushing levers. It's all good. All right, on Music Scene Investigation, what we do here every week is we listen to puppies bark.
Sorry.
That's okay. We listen to puppies bark. No, actually we don't. What we do here is we take and listen to, for the very first time, 3 songs from indie artists from around the world, and then our panel of experts gets together and talks about them. They review them and critique the songs as they see fit, usually from a technical perspective. And then they select a song of the week at the end of the broadcast. And for a treat today, we got 3 interesting songs. I'm not going to say they're good. I'm not going to say they're bad. That's not up to me to decide. Rather, that's up to our panel. Let's meet them right now. Let's go over to England and talk with Mr. Ian Husbands. Ian, how are you, sir?
I'm just making Spinal Tap jokes in the chat room.
Spinal Tap jokes, all right. What is your favorite part of Spinal Tap since you went and brought it up?
Well, we're just talking about Pinky. He's bought an amp and he said it's from Nigel Tufnell, and it'll only let you plug in and if you're in drop D. So, yeah, it goes up to 11 apparently.
Well, most amps from Spinal Tap do, don't they?
Exactly.
Oh, there you go.
I was saying the bass on it's really good. It's got a big bottom.
And, yeah, okay.
It's one of their songs.
Yeah, I know.
Just you know.
Did he get the small Stonehenge thing with it?
I don't know, but he did find some freak gardening implements in the bottom of it.
Excellent, excellent. Broke drumsticks?
Quite possibly.
All right, there you go.
And something about a big pink torpedo as well. But
A small person.
Yeah, small person. All right, Ian, let me ask you a question from last week's broadcast. I know you keep track of these things. I can't remember that far. It was only a week ago. Last week we had on the broadcast with us, we had Fuzzy Daniels, Lily Lambert, and 6x7 Band on the broadcast. Lily Lambert was selected as the song of the week. So tell me, from your perspective, what were the witness statements?
Well, we went for Lily Lambert, Lead Me to You. It was a bit of a tough week, actually, last week. We were a bit undecided, really. But our audience for songwriting agreed with us on Song 2. They agree with us on performance for Song 2, Lily Lambert. And for mix and production, they were a bit split down the middle, guys. And they went with Song 2 and Song 3 on a 50-50 split. So the Somnambulist by 6x7 got a bit of a vote for mix and production.
I know we had a difficult time making the selection as well. It was kind of a split vote, even.
It was. The songs all sort of had their own issues, but they were all very similar for each track, especially 2 and 3. So it was quite a difficult decision last week.
All right, well, good enough. I appreciate you bringing us those results. Let's go to
That's all right. Before we go, I just
right.
want a little plug. I've got a track coming out very soon. It's got a very talented young bass player on it. That'll be Andrea then. And we've got Paul Miro involved, my wife involved. We've got a guy called James Galore playing trumpet on it. And it's a track called Stand Up Funk, and we've got a really cool video coming out with it, and that's going to be out in the next couple of weeks, so look out for it.
All right, well, let's talk to Andrea about that and many other things. Hey, Andrea, how are you?
I'm well, Rich. And Ian called me young, so, you know.
Talented
that means it's
young.
the best day of my week.
Are you saying, now I shouldn't do this, but you know me, I'm going to anyway. Are you saying you're not young?
I'm not young as I used to be.
Young at heart.
Yes. We'll always have that youth character about us, right?
There you go. You're only as old as you feel. So as long as you feel young, you'll be forever young, as Rod Stewart said.
So they say.
That's why I married someone 7 years younger than me.
I'm actually a little depressed today though, because my I had got tickets to Janet Jackson.
Okay.
She was doing 2 dates here in Vegas, and
what's the problem?
She canceled.
Oh, she canceled?
Yeah, both of them. Apparently, the official reason is vocal rest. So.
Yeah, that just means she has something better to do.
Yeah, maybe, I don't know. Somebody told me that she's kind of famous for canceling her dates, but the vocal rest thing is actually becoming really common amongst big performers, so, it's not completely shocking.
Well, I'm sorry that your concert got canceled. Is there anything we can do to kind of make it up for you?
We could get John to sing a Janet Jackson number for her.
Yeah, let's do that.
All right, well, let's meet our guest panelist then and see if we can get that to happen. Our guest panelist is an audio engineer and electronics engineer, and this guy has been involved in a lot of great stuff that I'm sure a lot of musicians out there use, and he works for GeForce Software. He's worked with Imposcar, Omnisphere, among others. And we love having him on the show. We just don't have him on nearly enough. Here he is, Mr. Jon Hodgson, everybody. Hey, John, how are you? How's your vocal cords today?
They just got worse.
It's good to see you again. How are things going with you? It's been a while.
Yeah, pretty good overall. Yeah.
So let me ask you the question that begs to be asked. Since last you were on with us, what's been going on with you? Where have you been keeping yourself?
Well, it's been between just carrying on the work. Unfortunately, it's all still behind the scenes core stuff I'm doing. So nothing nice and new to announce.
You're not going to let any of the top secret stuff slip. I know every time you come on, we always ask you if you can, tell us a couple of top secret tidbits. We won't tell anybody. It'll be between just you and us.
No, unfortunately not. Other than that, done some traveling. So I managed to do a couple of long trips. One was planned and one was last minute. So I went to Australia, which was my planned trip. And then I had a last-minute thing of going to Madagascar and sailing around Madagascar.
Now, Madagascar, everybody knows, is an island. It's a huge island. It's not a small thing to sail around. How long did this take?
Well, we sailed from Samari Island, which is up in the northeast, to a genuine pirate island. It was a pirate haven, around the north of its Cap d'Ambre, and going down to Morondave, which is halfway down or something, maybe 2/3 way down, on the west coast, and that took, I think, about 4 weeks, and then we had a week crossing across to South Africa from there.
Wow, that's amazing. I can't imagine being on the water for that long. That's just a truly feat. It's a huge feat in my book. I know you like to sail. Did you do any sailing in Australia while you were there?
In Australia, well, I went on a sailboat, but I wasn't sailing myself. So I did that was a trip around the Whitsundays with some diving as well. And I did more diving on the Great Barrier Reef, which was excellent.
Excellent. Yeah, there's no doubt. That's an amazing place to see.
Yeah, yes, as a diver, you've got to go to the Great Barrier Reef at least once.
I think pretty much as anybody, you should go to the Great Barrier Reef. I've never been there. I've been to Australia, and I kind of blew it off.
John, Pinky in the chat room wants to know if there were twerking lemurs in Madagascar. And what I want to know is, did you see Rich there twerking with them?
Well, I didn't get any photographic evidence, unfortunately, but yeah.
So no confirmation at all, right?
Uh,
All right. No confirmation there, Ian. So there you go.
It sounds like something we could get Ken Scott on, doesn't it? Twerking lemurs.
I think we will. Next time we have Ken on, we'll present a new show idea to him.
I've got it. Twerking. No, twerking lemurs
of Madagascar.
Looking for the wildman
of Madagascar. All right, back to John. John, so tell me, Madagascar, beautiful place. Did you get a chance to go on the island at all, or was it just sailing around?
Yes, I mean, this is actually my second time to Madagascar. So last time I actually did a road trip down the middle of Madagascar from Antananarivo down to the ocean themselves. Whereas this time it was all the coast. So we'd stop from various places. Diego Suarez, Nosy Bay, which is actually an island. Majunga, Morandav. I also did a 3-day trip to a place thing called the Singis, which are these crazy-looking rock formations. They're hard to describe, really. It's a bunch of spikes, really.
Wow.
So that was quite good as well, climbing around there. So I got to see. This time was mostly coast. As I said, I've seen more stuff in the middle in the past as well. Because my brother lives in Madagascar.
Oh,
that was
okay.
Well, I went there. The first time I saw him was at Christmas on San Maria Island, because that's near them, and then they did my road trip. And then this time was actually my father's boat. He had it in San Maria and wanted to sail it around and across to South Africa, which is why I got this email out of the blue saying, "Do you want to join me?" And that was about a week before I flew out. He gives me lots of warning.
Wow, I wish somebody would send me an email like that. Now, you said the trip to Australia was the planned trip. All right.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping it was a good trip from I mean, the plans were made and it was good business trip or personal trip or whatever it was. I hope it was all good.
Well, I say planned. I mean, I don't tend to plan things very much. So I only really sorted out my first few days, and the rest was, and my flight back from Cairns, and the rest was pretty vague. I'd booked a Greyhound ticket, hop on, hop off, and wasn't sure what I'd do. But it was a very good trip. My cousin lives in Sydney,
Nice.
so and also my as it happened for Christmas, because it was over Christmas I was there, and Christmas and New Year, my aunt and uncle were visiting from Canada to her parents, basically. So I saw them as well, which is nice, family get together.
Oh yeah.
But I didn't spend much time in Sydney because there's so much to see.
Oh, absolutely. Now, you mentioned in the pre-show that you had the opportunity to go, I guess, by Ayers Rock.
Yeah. The first thing I did, I spent a couple of nights in Sydney, seeing my cousin, getting to know their little daughter and so on. And then I flew to Ayers Rock Airport and did a 3-day trip around Uluru. I don't remember the name of the second one. They call it the Devil's Marbles, but there's a proper Aboriginal name for it. And then Kings Canyon. So that was a 3-day walking and camping, and a van to get us around the longer bits because it's long trips. But yeah, that was quite spectacular. So interestingly, physically Uluru is the least impressive of the three.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's actually, one thing is that the others are bigger, but it was okay because Uluru was where we learned a lot more about the history and the Aboriginal beliefs and so on. like why they have areas you can't take pictures.
I did not know you could not take pictures there. Why is it that you can't take pictures?
Well, most of the places you can. There's just a few points where you can't, and it turns out that it's because it's not really because they have a problem with you taking a picture. They don't think it's going to do something nasty, but they have areas where they have men-only places and women-only places. And men cannot see a woman-only place, and vice versa. Okay.
All right.
And the problem is that if you took photos of this particular of a woman-only area, and then you're happily showing your photos to your Australian Aboriginal friend when you get home, right? And you show him this bit that's a woman's place, he's now got a problem. Because he's now seen something he's not allowed to see.
I can understand,
Yeah, so he has to report for punishment. And the Northern Territory's punishment involves having a punishment spear thrown through your thigh. So,
ouch.
Yeah, and if you've seen a punishment spear, well, I could sort of say spear, they have to put them all the way through.
It's quite severe and not something I actually had ever thought of before. And yeah, definitely don't want to take pictures there.
Yeah, so that's the reason. So yeah, I thought that's quite interesting because I'd always sort of assumed it was something. They thought the taking of the picture was the problem, but actually it's.
Did you ask the question? Now, this question immediately comes to mind when I think of this. Since you brought it up. Did you ask them? Well, what about like satellite views of Ayers Rock or views that other people may have taken in the past? That have any of these restricted areas ever actually gotten out to where they shouldn't have?
Well, the places that I don't think you'd get on satellite views because I think they tend to be sort of cave areas and so on.
Okay,
not totally certain. But it's actually a good question, which I didn't.
I mean, because I've seen pictures of Ayers Rock in books and online and different things like that. So that would be an interesting question to ask. Now I know that you traveled elsewhere in Australia as well, not just Ayers Rock. You went to Adelaide as well. Did you have an opportunity at any of these places to go out and see the nightlife?
I saw, Adelaide I saw a bit, and Melbourne. Melbourne I went to a blues jam that wasn't on. They were having their Christmas or their annual sort of do, but it was a concert instead.
They didn't wake up that morning.
Sorry?
I didn't wake up that morning.
But no, so that was good. So yeah, I saw some of the nightlife.
How does it compare to what you're used to in England? What you see there?
Pretty similar, really. I mean, I can't say there's that much difference in that respect. I mean,
the jam nights are working.
Well, this one would normally be working. It was, as I said, it was the one night they were having their concert instead.
Come on, John. Right, you're in a country that is the home of one of the oldest known musical instruments in the world, being the didgeridoo. Did you try? Did you have a go?
I tried, and I've yet to actually get a sound out of one properly. Anything that seems like a decent sound.
It's fair enough.
Getting the sound's not the hard bit. It's the circular breathing that's the hard bit, and getting it they breathe in through the nose and blow out through their mouth at the same time, and it's really not easy at all.
Getting the sound is the hard bit to start with. At least getting a decent one. I mean, getting a sound into it so difficult. Getting any kind of control over it.
It sounds to me like you had a great trip, a great series of trips, and kind of explains why you've been gone so long. I mean, you're traveling all over the world, halfway around the world to Australia, and and one way, and then halfway around the world of Madagascar the other way. It's you've logged some miles.
Yeah. As I said, I can't remember how many it was. I have to work it out for Australia. For Madagascar, I was 900, nearly 900 nautical miles just across to South Africa, and probably about 900 going around or something.
Pretty amazing.
So, yeah, and managed to do it without sinking.
Just do it, as they say, huh? All right. Well, I tell you what. Let's get you back in the saddle and actually log some miles with music reviews. What do you say to that?
Nice segue.
I do what I can. I try. All off the cuff too. No scripts here, everybody. All right. So we do have music to listen to today, as I mentioned before. We got into discussion here, and a fabulous. Have you considered writing a book, John, on some of the travels that you've been doing?
That's a thought.
Just don't show pictures of the places we're not supposed to see.
I think you're going to say don't show pictures of the twerking lemurs.
Yeah, well, the talking leg, that's okay. I just don't want to see something that's going to get a spear tossed through my leg or something like that. You know what I mean?
I wouldn't mind seeing that.
Or either that, or you could write a picture for men or write a book for men, and then have someone write a book for women, and you could have two bestsellers then.
That's a plan.
I'm just trying to make you famous, my friend. Not that you're not famous already, but you know what I mean.
Yep.
All right. Well, let's listen to some music today. Let's find out what our panel thinks of it, and find out what everybody in the audience thinks as well. Right now, we're going to take a listen to song number 1 on the show. So here it is, everybody. This is track number 1 on today's Music Scene Investigation. Certainly hope you enjoy it.
His electric brand is made in Japan. All he has to do is just plug it in. He brands those cattle like they're going out of style. It's a little bit of work and it takes a while. He has a cellular phone in his pickup truck, 4-wheel drive in case he gets stuck. He's a good old cowboy living in the modern days. Puts on his boots and his Wrangler jeans. He's a real crowd pleaser, if you know what I mean. Goes for coffee at the coffee shop, uses a biplane to dust his crop. Then he goes to his computer and his fax machine and talks to people that he's never seen. He's a good old cowboy living in the modern days. A mechanical bull on Friday night, a 6-pack of beer and a barroom fight. Then he goes home like he knows he should. From Billy be bad to Johnny be good. Then he turns on his TV with remote control, tunes to a station with a rodeo. He's a good old cowboy living in the modern days. On Friday night, a 6-pack of beer and a barroom fight. Then he goes home like he knows he should. From Billy be bad to Johnny be good. Then he turns on his TV with remote control, tunes to a station with a rodeo. He's a good old cowboy living in the modern days. Yeah, he's a good old cowboy living in these modern days.
All right, that is track number 1 on the broadcast today. We're going to bring our panel back in and find out what they think about the track they just heard. Starting out with Ian. Ian, track number 1 over to you, my friend.
Well, I mean, what's to say that what a well-recorded country track. I mean, it is. It's your stereotypical sort of Dukes of Hazzard style country track, which is great, very enjoyable. A little bit light in the lyrics, a little bit of a story going on like that. His delivery was fantastic. But everything was there. That sort of honky-tonk piano coming in the choruses, the real beautiful recording of the acoustic guitar, the drums just sounded crisp. The bass was just sitting there, plodding like it should. It's just a well put together piece. I mean, it's not my bag country. I don't really listen to country music, but you can't take away that this has been very well produced, very well written, very well performed, and very well recorded. Tight. I can't find anything wrong with it. And if I did, I'd really be nitpicking.
All right. I appreciate it, Ian. Thank you. Now over to Andrea and her thoughts on track number 1. Andrea?
Yeah, ditto. I mean, really, really great track. Everything about it is just kind of perfectly done for the genre and what they're going for. Nicely recorded. The band obviously really knows their stuff. I mean, it was so well played. Just tasty everything. Great piano parts. The solos were just really nice. And, the vocalist, he gets the job done. I wouldn't say he's an incredible, amazing, one of these tricky vocalists, but he sounds good. He's got a solid voice. He's got the sound of country, and it's a catchy song. Really one of the better ideas I've heard in the kind of catchy, light categories. Good old cowboy living in the modern day. Really good idea. My only nitpick, and it really is a nitpick, is I thought the bass was too hot, just a little bit too loud. The nice, really, really nice bass tone, so it took up a lot of space. But really, really great track. Loved it.
All right. Thank you, Andrea. I appreciate that. Mr. Jon Hodgson is up next. John, what do you think about track number 1?
I enjoyed it. I like a bit of country. Not much really to, as they said, not to complain about really. On my headphones, maybe some of the mixing could have been a little different. The piano, it was cutting through, but it did sound a little bit too tinny for me at some points. And rhythmically, I think they could have worked a little bit more with it, rather than sticking to the very straight beat that they did. Well, obviously that's your basic country, but you can play within that. But that's just little bits. Other than that, yeah, it's a nice example of what it's supposed to be.
All right, very cool. Thank you very much. Did anybody notice, or was it just me, the lyric in the song, "Turn on the radio with a rodeo"?
I didn't catch that one.
Okay,
Didn't stick out to me, no.
I'm just wondering because I'm trying to figure out how a rodeo would be done over radio. So, there you go.
Maybe they have them.
I don't know.
You never know. They must broadcast locally about the rodeo.
And he's on the horse, and he's off the horse.
That's the only thing I can picture in my head,
Come on, we did it with baseball forever, and baseball's the most boring thing ever.
I'm just picturing in my mind. Okay, the announcer, he's up on the horse. He's out of the gate. 1, 2, 3. Nope, he's down. 3 seconds that time.
The clown's been gored. I hate to report this, and we're calling an ambulance in now.
I'm just, Anyway, all right. Track number 1 for everybody's information. Track number 1 is from Duke Michaels, and that is called "Good Old Cowboy." We appreciate Duke sending that track in, Music Scene Investigation. By the way,
it's just the whole package, isn't it? It's just the whole package. His name's Duke. The song's called "Good Old Cowboy." You can't get better than that, really.
You're right. When you think about it like that, I guess you're right. I do want to remind everybody before I forget, however, the MusicSceneInvestigation.com is moving to a new server. Right now, you're not able to submit new music. We're going to open that up once we get servers moved. We plan on starting that process tomorrow. Hopefully everything will be back up and in order again by tomorrow, Tuesday at the latest. So please bear with us on that as we get things moved there. All right, 2 more tracks to take a listen to. Let's go ahead and take a listen to track number 2 right now. Here it is, everybody. This is track number 2 on today's Music Scene Investigation.
I'm a lonesome man, traveling this train. I never knew love, but I know pain. This life has cost me everything. I'm a lonesome man, riding this train. When I was young, it all came to be. How misery would follow me, and my family done nothing to change my mind. Bad luck and trouble was so easy to find. I'm a lonesome man, traveling this train. I've never felt alone, but I know pain. This life has cost me everything. I'm a lonesome man, riding this train. I've been through the women, with them I'm done. 'Cause I guess I never found the right one. The decisions I made were no damn good. I tried to change, but I never could. I'm a lonesome man, traveling this train. I've never knew love, but I know pain. This life has cost me everything. I'm a lonesome man, riding this train. I'm a lonesome man, riding this train.
All right, that is track number 2 on today's Music Scene Investigation. Let's bring our panel back in. We'll start things out with Andrea this time. Andrea, what do you think about track number 2?
Okay. As it started, I thought, it's a nice intro. The guitar is, well recorded. When the voice came in, my immediate thought was, it's nice vocal, but there's a very tinny quality to it, and it sounded like maybe it was mic choice, or maybe it's not a very expensive mic, and maybe that's what's giving it that kind of tinny feel. And then also, given that there's not a whole lot of instrumentation going on here and no production, it gave me a lot of time to listen for that, and so I would say that it could have been better recorded from the vocal side, especially if you're only going to have voice and guitar. There's what we call a plosive, which is when your P or your D actually, the air from it pops into the microphone, and you should never ever have one of those ever in your recording. It doesn't matter if it's the best vocal track you've ever done. If you have to go back and punch that one word or just that line, you should do it. You should never have one of those. It just automatically kind of screams amateur recording. The reverb on the vocal also has some really high-end reflections on it. And that's one of those things about when you choose a reverb, and, you know, as we all know, you've got this massive library now of all these digital reverbs, and some of them sound good and some of them don't, you know, because we have to remember that when reverb started, every reverb box you bought was a chamber all its own, and it was creating reverb a natural way. And in digital, we're not doing that. We're hearing, you know, the synthetic version of reverb. And if you're not careful about choosing the right one, you'll get something like in this case where you have the reflections coming back, whether it's been EQ'd that way or whether it was naturally set up in that particular reverb. You know, when you chose the plugin, are super kind of crisp. And, you know, what they basically do is they make the vocal track sound tinier than it normally might sound. And the reason we don't really want that is because vocalists are almost always trying to get a warmth in their vocal track. And especially when it stands out like this, you really want to make sure you have the mic and you're recording it properly so that you have that nice round sound and it picks up all that, you know, underlying, what I call the floor of the voice, which sounds really nice. The guy has a nice voice. He's pushing really hard. To me, it's hard to listen to because I just hear the damage happening, but that's just me being a voice instructor. But, you know, it's authentic to rock, and it has that, you know, he has that growl and that grumble, and he wasn't pitchy even though he's pushing that hard. So, you know, it's a very authentic sound. The song in itself, there's not a whole lot of production to talk about here, right? So that the other comment would be produce it. You know, some ideas, a band, you know, even if you're going to do it in your bedroom, you got to take it somewhere. So some other stuff, or some other players involved. And then, you know, the song itself, it's a catchy tune. The only thing I had about the song is it was a little hard to figure out on the chorus. It felt like there was a time change happening, and it wasn't really easy to pin down. So it was kind of hard to get attached to that chorus because it wasn't rolling at a consistent time signature. It was like one line was one time signature and then next line was different. And not that you can't do that. Obviously, you can always do anything creative you want to in music. But I find it as a listener kind of difficult to attach to how that melody was rolling. So it might be something that you revisit. But all in all, it's a good start. To me, it's a demo in quality, sound quality, and in what they've produced. So I would say go back and do some work on it and see where you go.
All right. I appreciate that, Andrea. Thank you, Mr. Jon Hodgson. John, what do you think about track number 2?
So most of it, wishing the guy had used a de-esser, because I was getting a lot of sibilants here. But other than that, just sticking to the instrumentation, it started off well, but it was begging for something to come into the low octave all the way after a while, and it never really did. So all the instrument, I mean, okay, it was just, I'm not sure if you overlaid 2 guitars at any point, but it was all acoustic, but it was all fairly high up, and I was sort of, it needs a lot more production, but an arrangement, but it needed something happening a bit lower down. And when it went to the strum sections, I felt that was just a bit too aggressive on the downstrokes. It just became a bit pedestrian, should we say? But it has promise. It could be arranged and produced into a really great track, I think. And he has got the voice for that track, but it's not right yet.
All right. Well, I appreciate your thoughts. Thank you very much. Now over to Ian. Ian, what do you think of track number 2?
Right, a lot to talk about, so I'll try and get through it quickly. As Andrew was saying with the vocals, to me it sounded like he was on top of the mic most of the time. and he was lacking mic control. You could hear every. I like the way Tommy put it. You could almost he kind of enjoyed dodging the spit coming from the microphone, and you kind of felt that. You kind of felt like he was on top of the mic and constantly on it, and didn't pull off on the more powerful sections to sort of get a bit more dynamic into the vocal and things like that. And it was the wrong choice of reverb. It was too bright. It sounded to me like he might have had some sort of distortion effect on there, very mild distortion effect to give it that sort of almost radio sound, because I don't know, it could have been a cheap mic. Excuse me, it could have been a cheap mic, but you know, a lot of this post grunge sound, bands like Stained, Seether, Seven Mary 3 that we've been talking about in the chat room, they use that quite a lot. And you know, this guy hasn't quite got it right with the hot recording on his vocals, and not the correct recording of his vocals, and then wrong production. It's making it sound really bright and brittle and horrible. He has got a great voice. There is a good song sitting here. I liked his diction, and I liked his timing as well on this track, because you haven't got much to work with, just that guitar and his vocal. He held it together really, really well. Production-wise, yeah, you're going to go two ways with this. You're either going to take it the full-on Seether and Stained, you know, drop-tuned guitars, big drum, big bass coming in and smashing the end out of that track, and, you know, layering vocals and harmonies. Or you're going to keep it sort of acoustic, and you're maybe going to bring another guitar part in, and I'd say a cello to fill out the bottom end, as John was talking about, and maybe just a few sparse harmonies here and there, with maybe some really basic percussion coming in somewhere as well. You've got, you know, it really could go several ways. I would personally keep it more acoustic, but it does need to be taken back, does need to be re-recorded. And, you know, I think if that vocalist is recording himself, get someone in to record you. Get a producer in, someone who will tell you to step back off the mic. Use a pop shield. That will automatically force you back off the mic a bit and stop the plosives and some of the sibilants coming through and stuff like that.
All right, I appreciate that too, Ian. Thank you very much. Track number 2, for everybody's information, is called Lonesome Man, and it's by Jon Sullivan. So, Jon Sullivan, we appreciate you sending track number 2 in to us as well. All right, we have one more track to take a listen to, track number 3. Let's do that right now. Here it is, everybody. This is track number 3 on today's Music Scene Investigation. Certainly hope you enjoy it as well. Track number 3.
Despite the demon that I want you to be, I love you always, and I don't think that
All right. Well, there you have it. That is track number 3 on today's music scene investigation. Let's bring our panel in. Start this round out with Mr. Jon Hodgson from G4 Software. John, what do you think about track number 3?
Pretty good overall, I think. It's been an illustration to me that you sometimes need to use less symbols. Because I found there was too much symbol work going on, which just tends to fill stuff with noise and get in the way, I think. But other than that, excuse me. Other than that, pretty good overall. The guitar parts worked well together and didn't try anything too flash, but what they did was quite interesting. Voice worked. The song had a nice structure to it. My only thing with it is, apart from the symbols, is I sometimes wish some of the stuff was a bit less tightly, I'd say less produced, but it's a bit rigid in terms of feel. It's not programmed, but it almost feels that way, I think. I shouldn't say it's not programmed, I wouldn't know. I can't tell. I think they're maybe using triggered drum samples, and they tend to come out a bit samey. So, yeah, it's mostly a feel thing. I'd like it to groove a bit more, but I like it overall.
All right. Well, I appreciate that, John. Thank you. Now over to Ian. Ian, track number 3, over to you, sir.
Yeah, there's a lot of good stuff going on. It kind of gave me sort of like an 80s rock feel, sort of bands like Roachford and Mike and the Mechanics and Bryan Adams and people like that. Heavy on the guitars in places. I like big guitars, but as Tommy was saying in the chat as well, when that chorus came in, it really did fill out with guitars, and it just got a bit too much, a bit too heavy, and it did set the vocal back a little bit in places because of that. I mean, everything else sounded pretty well recorded. Tonally, it was nice. Song-wise, it was well performed, it was well produced, it was well done. I found the writing a little bit safe, maybe, is the best way to do it. Obvious sort of chord progressions, obvious places to go, obvious arrangement. Yes, it's a pop song, sort of a pop rock song, but I don't know. I think, I would like to have heard it a bit more quirky and a bit more finding its own element a little bit, a bit of something more, and more harmonies. We want more harmonies always.
All right. Thank you, Ian. Now over to Andrea. Andrea, track number 3. Your thoughts on this one? I can't hear you, Andrea. Are you muted?
Hello, sorry, yes, I did.
There you go.
Trying to save you from the Chihuahua.
That's okay.
Earlier. I love the the musical theme on this tune. The call and response of the da 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 da. I think that was a really good idea. It was a little bit too in your face in terms of the guitars playing that whole part. There were some tones on the guitars that were a little too bright for my taste. They were kind of burying a lot of things in terms of the mix. The bass was very low. The vocals could have been brought up. So those, like everybody has said, those guitars very dominating and too much taking over of everybody else. The vocalist, this I think is so interesting because this is the perfect example of having a great vocalist and not using them at all. This guy has a great sound, really good voice, but there's so little singing in this song. There's no development of the verses. He's basically kind of relegated to this 5-note range melody throughout the whole song. There's so little going on the chorus part, and it's actually a good line, but yeah, like Ian said, you got a great vocalist here. Do some massive harmonies. This guy would sound awesome stacked, triple tracked. It would just take it up to that level. It's almost like they didn't want the vocalist there. Let's do a song, but we want a vocalist, but just have him sing the stuff because we need a hook or whatever. Here's the thing. It's like people aren't listening necessarily to everything you play on the drums or the bass, but they are listening to the vocalist. And so when you have a good one, let them do something, So, all in all, I think it's the good start of a good tune and a good recording. The structure of the tune, something a little bit more substantial could be done for sure. And then, the mix, there's some balancing in the mix, taming these guitars a little bit, balancing out everybody, bringing the vocals to the front, and getting some more energy out of the track and dynamics. There wasn't a lot of dynamics for me. It kind of started and it stayed in this one spot. And you really want to have some sectional dynamics going on and do something with that. So, great idea, really good start, good playing, great vocalist. It just needs some extra care and attention.
All right. Well, there you have it.
We all?
I appreciate that. Track number 3 is called So Low, and it's by a group called Skymonk, and we appreciate their sending that track into Music Scene Investigation as well. All right, we got a task for our panelists as well as everybody out in the chat room as well. We need to decide on a song of the week. Need everybody in the chat room and everybody watching and or listening to the recording of this to go ahead and fill their witness statements out as well. We'll bring you those results next week. But right now, our panel has to fill out their witness statements, so to say, by selecting a song of the week. So I'll turn it over to you guys and let you talk it out amongst yourselves and let me know your decision.
As we go to this, Rich, I just wanted to tell you that at some point I just Googled rodeo on the radio.
Okay. You got time on your hands, don't you?
Well, sometimes there's a little space. Man, there's a lot of it, actually. There's a lot of rodeo on the radio. There's even a site called prorodeolive.com.
I'm thinking we would be big on this, Andrea. You and I announcing it. I will count the odd numbers. You count the even numbers. All we have to do is make it to 8.
Yeah. So there's always a career in that.
There you go. Cool. I like it.
Of course, I guess there's rodeo lingo you might have to learn.
Hat, boots, clown, bull. I think we got it licked. Not a problem. All right, what do you guys think about the 3 choices you have in front of you today?
I think I'm worried about you and Andrea doing a rodeo show.
That's okay. You don't have to be worried. You're in England.
Okay.
They don't have rodeos in England.
No, we don't, to be honest. I think we should do.
Well, there you go. We could do it there too, Andrea. All you have to do is go 1 mate, 2 mate.
No, they'll never understand me in England.
You're just going to the bar. All right, let's get this song of the week selection. That's the task at hand. Let's get to it. What do you think, John, Andrea, Ian? Your thoughts?
John, let's let our guests go first.
Yeah, I guess that's a good idea, Andrea.
Excuse me. I think of the 3, I mean, 2 has the potential to be my favorite, but it isn't yet. I think but with a bit of arrangement, it'd be a great song. And of course, re-recording the vocals. 3 is a good track, but right now I think I'm going to go for 1 because it's the best. It was the best example of its type today, and the times I've been on before, there hasn't really been any country on. So it was a bit different as well compared to what I've heard on MSI before. So that's quite a fun song, so I'll go with that. So number 1.
All right, fair enough. Thank you, John. Ian, Andrea, what are your thoughts?
Ladies first.
Oh, thank you, Ian. I'm gonna echo John. I'm going with number 1. I just think it is definitely the best representation of its genre. The other 2, there's potential there, and number 3 definitely is close. But number 1, they really nailed it. They've got a lot of really solid work going on there, and so I'm going to go with number 1.
All right, Ian.
Well, that makes it quite easy for me because, I think all of these tracks this week have got their own things going on. Really like number 2, just from the perspective of where the track's coming from and where it could go. Really like number 3 because there's a lot of good stuff going on there. But, we said in the chat room that number 1 set the bar pretty high for the show. And I think it managed to maintain that. So, yeah, I'm not a country fan, but it's a really, really good version of country.
All right, so it is unanimous then. It looks like track number 1 is going to be our song of the week, and that's from Duke Michaels, Good Old Cowboy. So congratulations out to Duke Michaels and everybody with him on that track. And good job for everybody in regards to the music that was sent in today. Thank you to our panel as well. Jon, a big thanks to you for joining us. We're happy to have you back after your world travels. You're a hard guy to get a hold of. You know this.
Oh, happy to be back.
We appreciate it and want to make sure that everybody keeps up with you and what's going on with you over at G-Force Software, the best place in the world to pick up your synths at as well.
I hope so.
Well, it is. It is. There's no doubt about it. All right, Andrea, Ian, thank you for being here. Thanks to everybody out in the chat room for being here as well. We wouldn't do it without you being there. So, well, actually we do. It's called Hit List, which is coming up on the 14th of October. Show up, 5:30 p.m. Eastern time. We'd appreciate it. All right.
Please.
Yeah, that's right. We're going to play out now with song number 1, our song of the week, Good Old Cowboy by Duke Michaels. Here it is, everybody. Thanks for being here. We'll talk to you next time on Music Scene Investigation.
Goodbye.
Bye-bye.
His electric brand is made in Japan. All he has to do is just plug it in. He brands those cattle like they're going out of style. It's a little bit of work and it takes a while. He has a cellular phone in his pickup truck, 4-wheel drive in case he gets stuck. He's a good old cowboy living in the modern days. Puts on his boots and his Wrangler jeans. He's a real crowd pleaser if you know what I mean. Goes for coffee at the coffee shop, uses a biplane to dust his crop. Then he goes to his computer and his fax machine and talks to people that he's never seen. He's a good old cowboy living in the modern days. A mechanical bull on Friday night, a 6-pack of beer and a barroom fight. Then he goes home like he knows he should. From Billy be bad to Johnny be good. Then he turns on his TV with remote control, tunes to a station with a rodeo. He's a good old cowboy living in the modern days. Bull on Friday night, a 6-pack of beer and a barroom fight. Then he goes home like he knows he should. From Billy be bad to Johnny be good. Then he turns on his TV with remote control, tunes to a station with a rodeo. He's a good old cowboy living in the modern days. Yeah, he's a good old cowboy living in